My name is Professor Lisa-Dionne. I am the founder and director of the Black Female Academics Network.
My name is Kayaga, and I am a second-year PhD student at the University of Leeds, and I'm very excited to be part of this conversation. So, Lisa, I would like to ask you a few questions, if you don't mind, about your journey within academia, research, and how you've gotten to where you are, so that people who are on the journey can also really get some pointers of where to go.
Okay, that's fine.
So could you just tell us briefly the journey that you've taken from how you ended up into the master's program, PhD program, and then how you now are here as a senior researcher?
So thank you very much, Kaya. So I worked in industry for many years before joining academia. And it was a choice between the 70-hour weeks when you decide that you're going to have a family and those opportunities to actually transition out. So I started my PhD, my consideration of a PhD when I was 32. So I came into academia quite late. I did a part-time PhD whilst lecturing part-time in the university and doing some consultancy on the side. So I had done an undergraduate, I had done a master's and then worked, and then I decided to transition out of industry into academia because I felt that that was my opportunity and my future moving forward. So when I started my PhD, my consideration was becoming a doctor. I was not clear about what the PhD process would entail, like most
people who end up in the PhD program.
Yeah, if someone had said this is what the PhD was all about, maybe I would have planned it a little bit better. But I started it thinking that, it was a clear pathway to an end. It was time bound, so it was a clear pathway to an end. And that's how I started the PhD. Then I transitioned time by time into more academic work, but I can only describe myself as an academic entrepreneur because I kept my position in place within academia and then continued to keep my position and place within industry as well. I then only became a full-time member of staff when I actually gained my professorial chair, and that was 3 years ago, and that's when I decided to move across completely. Still keeping some consultancy activities, but actually say, okay, now I've reached, I'm a full-time academic with a chair and currently the professor within the School of Mechanical Engineering, focusing specifically on public and industry understanding of capability-driven design.
You have finally committed.
Yeah, it's 1 foot in, 1 foot out, Kaya, I'm telling you, until I actually decided this is where I wanted to be. But the 1 foot in and 1 foot out was good for me because one of the things that helped me has been the evidence base that I'd built up outside of the university to support my university activities because I'd not had a traditional pathway. It was very much a unique experience of starting a PhD later on in life, not going straight from undergraduate to master's to MPhil to PhD. But it was really focused on the fact that I wanted to transition out with the expertise, but come into the university setting and hold that same credibility level within the university.
You described the usual route and then your route. And I'm just wondering, because usually when you're thinking about going into the journey of becoming a professor, the usual route is the one that is available, but you've not taken it. So I'm just trying to understand how, what kind of mentorship or coaching you've had to help you to facilitate that journey that is unique to what you needed, but has now led you to becoming at the time where we are right now.
When I was growing up, we were taught to pat ourselves on the back, which was a phrase. Don't look for praise, don't look for appreciation, don't look for affirmation. You have it within. So when I was actually going through the journey, the pathway, I met kind people, and I didn't really see them as mentors. I met what considered to be kind people, and they were from different cultures, different races. And the one thing that they had in common is that they absolutely demonstrated what I considered to be leadership skills. which was about kindness. It was about teamwork. It was about giving back, upskilling, succession planning. So I was looking for those types of people who actually led by example, more so than carried titles or were in a position of power.
What did they do to help you in this journey? Did they play a role?
Yes, it was without these specific individuals. Two specifically were Africans, and they were from South Africa, females. The other was a UK male, white professor. And that's a bit unusual because at the time, I did not have a black female or a black male professorial to see, to look up to. So I had to engage with people that saw into me, intimacy. So I was really focusing on whether or not they could see what I saw and reflected it back in the interaction. So what they did was mirror my energy. I'm big on energy. So if you mirror my energy, I think we can, co-create, co-produce, and collide. If we are not mirroring the same energy, I am avoiding you. My energy can't be low and my energy can't be super high. So one of the things that they did was to actually, I can only describe stabilize my energy so I wasn't vibrating as much when I came into specific scenarios or situations where I was in unfamiliar territory.
Now, with the BAFAN, you have made very intentional steps around doing mentorship, around doing access to coaching for Black female academics to then walk the journey to becoming, to go the journey of higher education. Why is that?
That's an interesting one, and it's a selfish one. Yeah, people always tell. And I'm a great believer if it's mutually benefit as long as it serves me. It's mutual benefit as long as it serves me. Now, it's going to serve me to have more Black females at the top table. So you have my back, my side, like Charlie's Angels. I'm a great believer in the Charlie's Angels. One at the side, one at the back, one looking forward, okay? So if we can have a Charlie's Angels situation and that visual where I have more Black females at the top table, it takes some of the pressure off me. So it's purely selfish. I can spread that love around, spread that energy around, spread the workload around, spread the opinions around, and also have some social capital at the same time.
I see. And I think, I'm one of the beneficiaries of the BAFAN environment. And I can say that whereas you had this drive that was internal, pushing you forward and you're looking for people who can mirror that to just channel you onwards, I found that the role that mentors have had to play in my life is to, I think, get this big light and shine it into me and say, look, there is something great, push forward. And this is something that you're constantly doing and saying, move, step up, step out, speak up. And I wonder, how do you re-energize yourself to invest in so many people?
It's easy because, as I said, I'm a great believer in energy flowing from people to people. And as long as we're on the same wave, we can move together. And everybody wants the same thing, Kaya. You want happiness and well-being and love. And I want the same thing.
I do love happiness and love.
And we just want the same thing. We may have different goals or different ways of achieving that. And I think for Black females, actually, for me, I sat within the School of Mechanical Engineering, coming from a very design systems background, design science background, and coming into a very strict environment where everybody had titles, everybody was doctor, everybody had a PhD. And when I started, I didn't have a PhD, but they took me on as a lecturer, senior teacher fellow, a teacher fellow, and senior teacher fellow, going all the way to associate professor, etc. So they took a chance on somebody that they didn't have a PhD, that they wanted to be adaptable and flexible to actually move into that environment. But there were no Black females in that environment. There were no, from what I could see, Black males in that environment. Everybody was in their own space doing their own thing. So when it comes to supporting women and men, I'm not forgetting about the brothers that are amongst us, women and men to move and to see that there is a place for you. I'm not saying it's easy, Kyle. But there are places that you can move into. But one of the things that I've learned is that as a Black female, we operate in stealth.